Good morning, everybody, and welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Sinead DeFries, and this is The Daily Show, where we bring you the latest news from the world of movies, plus some insight into what it all means. Joining us, as always, is your editor-in-chief for AMC Movie News, John Campea.
Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best movie-related show on the planet Earth, coming to you live from right here at the Stream.TV studios here in Hollywood, California, and we are the Inhumans, I guess. You had to be in on the conversation.
Also joining us is AMC's Mark Ellis.
Happy Wednesday, everybody, or as I call it, Laundry Day.
And AMC's Christian Harloff.
Laundry Day. You call that every day of the week. You don't know what day of the week it is. Come on. What's up, guys?
Is it Wednesday or is it the 14th of the month, which you call Laundry Day?
Today's Sunday. Where's the football game?
And also writer-director John Schnepp.
Hey, I'm bloated fish guy. Am I a mutant or am I an inhuman?
We do need to start recording like our pre-show conversations that go on and put them online later. All right, folks. Well, welcome to the show. Let's get going. Sinead, what do we got?
James Cameron's Avatar, the all-time #1 box office movie, both domestically and worldwide, has been set to launch a trio of sequels starting in December of 2016. Well, you can scratch that because Cameron has announced that the first of the Avatar sequels will not launch in AMC theaters now until December of 2017. Cameron said the following: "There's a layer of complexity in getting the story to work as a saga across 3 films that you don't get when you're making a standalone film. We're writing 3 simultaneously, and we've done that so that everything tracks throughout the 3 films. We're not just going to do one and then make up another one and another one after that and parallel with that. The 3 Avatar sequels will shoot all at the same time and be released 1 year apart from each other." John, your thoughts on the Avatar delay?
I saw this great meme online where James Cameron's sitting like this, and it says, "My excuses are this big." Like, remember, the Avatar 2, when they first started talking about this, they were talking about 2014.
Right.
Then it got bumped to 2015. Then, okay, everybody, we can now say with confidence, December 2016. And now it's December 2017. And look, I understand the whole mantra of make sure you get it right. I get that, I do. It's been 6 years. It's been a long time, well, 5 years really, to be fair, that I just don't understand how when you have a team of Hollywood screenwriters, right, that you are, I'm assuming, paying a decent amount of money, that are dedicating their attention to this when they're not playing online poker, that they're actually dedicating their time and attention to this almost on a full-time basis, that you can't come up in 5 years with your throughput story and then 3 individual scripts. Like, I know it's totally hyperbole, but it's just the premise. You remember Joss Whedon and the director of Cabin in the Woods, the infamous story. They just went out, I think it might have been Vegas or somewhere, they went somewhere to a hotel for the weekend and banged out the screenplay for Cabin in the Woods in a weekend. I mean, that's very much the exception to the rule, but I don't understand this whole thing about in 5 years we couldn't come up with a story. I mean, look, for the first Avatar, you just looked at Dances with Wolves. Yeah, let's do that. And then you had a space opera, right? So I don't get it, but look, whatever. The Avatar, I think is a little bit overrated, but I still thought it was a really fun, enjoyable movie that I liked an awful lot. I'm looking forward to seeing what James Cameron does next. I just don't understand the constant delays and delays and delays. Anyway, Christian, you read about this. What are your thoughts?
I mean, if it was any other director that had said this, I think I'd be more on your page where it's like, all right, Michael Bay, just shoot it, blow up stuff, and let's get a movie out. Now, I understand what you're saying, even with the example of Cabin in the Woods with the amount, but this is 3 movies that he's doing. So if you look at it, normally, if you were going to do it the way he said, most people do it, is every 2 or 3 years, the sequel would come out. It's usually what happens. But if you're planning for a trilogy of movies, I understand it. I get it. And like I said with Cameron, regardless of what you think of Avatar, the first one, I know a lot of people think that it's a rehash of Fern Gully and Dances with Wolves and all that stuff. You cannot deny that when you watch it in the theater, if you in fact did, it was like going to a Universal City Universal City
great movie experience.
Studio, and watching it, and it just overtakes you. So to know that he's going to give you a theater experience inside of this trilogy, and you're going to revisit. The only thing for me, when I go, James Cameron, you're coming out right at the same time Episode 8 is supposed to come out. So for that, it's like you're taking away business for yourself, because if you're going against the standalone Star Wars film, you're probably going to take it out or take business away. But I think Episode 8 is going to destroy it in the box office.
Sure.
I've already forgotten what Avatar is. What is it?
Some blue people
Blue,
and they're on
blue
a
people.
planet.
Oh, right. And there's a weird spiritual tree that everybody.
Dr. Manhattan's in this.
Yes, Dr. Manhattan. A lot of flying lizards.
Dr. Manhattan.
Used to plug into the
Right.
Triceratops.
Sigourney Weaver's in it.
Yeah.
I can wait for 2017. It really doesn't bother me. We have so many amazing movies coming out this year and in 2016. When I read that, I was like, okay, 2017, that's cool. At least it's not 2032.
I think I would probably have a much easier time. I wouldn't be so skeptical about it. If Cameron came out and said, you know what, I've got this new technology I'm developing that I think would be great for my new movies, but we're about another year and a half away from getting it perfected, so we're going to put the brakes on. I go, okay, if that's your vision, but you got a team of 5 screenwriters that you've been working on full time for 4 years. Why can't, anyway.
Well, Christian made the point that it's a great film to see in the theater, and a lot of people did just that. As a matter of fact, it broke records. So I think that
all of them.
if you look at making these movies and you're making 3 more, so you're going to have a quadrophenia of Avatar movies, now you're in the theater and you get another one every year, then that kind of makes up for the fact that you're not making a sequel every 3 years.
Sure.
All these movies are already done, so it's kind of like you're putting all your chips, you're waiting for that right hand to come along, because now 2017 and 2018 and 2019, you're going to get all that money based on a yearly thing instead
actually a
of
great
waiting
point.
for 3 years.
And
That's
the other
really
thing,
great point.
The other thing is, it's not based on anything. It's not like we're adapting Tolkien. We have a spine. They're creating 3 new movies, so it's not just writing 1 movie in 5 years. It's writing 3 movies in 5 years before they start shooting people on digital weird sets with weird blocks all over them. They have to make sure that, like, oh, episode 2, we want to be solid with what's going to happen with all those characters, because we're going to be shooting everyone at the same time for all 3 movies. Granted, you could replace them a lot easier because of the technology, but it does make sense that, hey, if they don't have it completely refined, like our act structure for Act 2 is not taking us to this 3rd movie the way we want, why rush it?
I just don't know that 2017 is rushing it. 5 years. But
Right.
I mean, at this rate, they're writing 5 pages a month. So, well, there you go. Whatever. Well, you know what? The movie comes out and it's awesome.
Yeah.
All this is trivial. It won't
Yeah.
matter if the movie's awesome, right? All right, what's next?
The nominations for the 35th Annual Razzie Awards have been announced. The Razzies celebrate the worst in film from the previous year, and the winners are announced the night before the Oscars. John, what are some of the categories and nominees that stood out to you this year?
I love the Razzies. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because, I like watching car wrecks or something like that. But the Razzies, to me, are awesome, celebrating the very worst in Hollywood that year. And, every year there's a few things on there that I don't think belong there. Like, for instance, for Worst Supporting Actor, they've nominated Mel Gibson from Expendables 3, which I actually thought he was great in Expendables.
best
3.
Meat
part of the whole
jacket.
movie, yeah.
He said meat jacket.
He was the best thing about that
Yeah.
movie. But still, so the big awards, of course, the Worst Picture nominees are Kirk Cameron's Saving Christmas, The Legend of Hercules, not the Rock one, Left Behind, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which I don't think belongs on this list. I actually like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Didn't love it, but I liked it. And Transformers 4, they've spelled it the age of EX-stink-shun, so extinction. Obviously, my pick for this is Transformers 4. Under Worst Actor, you got Nicolas Cage for Left Behind, Kirk Cameron for Saving Christmas, Kellen Lutz for The Legend of Hercules, Seth MacFarlane for A Million Ways to Die in the West. It hurts me to say, but he probably deserves that. And Adam Sandler for Blended. Worst Actress nominees are Drew Barrymore for Blended, Cameron Diaz for either The Other Woman or Sex Tape, Melissa McCarthy for Tammy, Charlize Theron for A Million Ways to Die in the West, and Gaia Weiss for The Legend of Hercules. But they've got a new category this year that I really like. It is the Razzie Redeemer Award. So people who have sucked that are now actually really good. And their nominees for the Razzie Redeemer Award were Ben Affleck, from being a Razzie winner for Geely to being an Oscar darling for Argo and Gone Girl. Jennifer Aniston for being laughable and now being in Cake. Mike Myers for winning the Razzie in Love Guru, and now he's a docu-director for Superbench. Keanu Reeves, a 6-time Razzie nominee for John Wick. And Kristen Stewart for her work in Camp Extra. I like this category.
Redeemer.
So let's actually start with that one and ask you guys. If you were to award the Redeemer Award out of this bunch, Ben Affleck, Jennifer Aniston, Mike Myers, Keanu Reeves, Kristen Stewart, Schnepp, we'll start with you. Who would you hand the Redeemer Award to?
I'd give it to Reeves, just because 47 Ronin was such a horrible mess that I really didn't have that much I'm going to see John Wick, even though the trailer sold me and we were all talking about it. That was in the back of my head. It was like, Keanu Reeves has just been in so many bad movies, and it's his choice to do these movies. He accepts it. Yeah, well, granted, whatever $20 million he makes, whatever, he's accepting to do these films. So, yeah, I think he's halfway redeemed. Then Bill and Ted, the new Bill and Ted, will be fully redeemed. So.
Christian?
The difference is that Keanu Reeves is a likable bad actor, though. That people really dig him. Kristen Stewart, to me, because that's the one that she's nominated for, and Still Alice.
I was going to say, I'm surprised they didn't actually mention for Still Alice. She's not bad in that, right?
She holds her own against, and it's her relationship with Julianne Moore that really furthers that storyline, and you believe her the whole way, because and she's not very likable, and she has become but I think because of body of work, Ben Affleck. You talk about shift. You had all the stinkers in the past, and now he is like the most respected dude. So body of work. It's almost like when Denzel won for Training Day,
right?
And he should have won for Hurricane. So Ben Affleck.
A body of work is also Jennifer Aniston, though. So I think it's either Aniston or Ben Affleck. I mean, you look at Aniston was, a 4-time Razzie nominee, and now she's in Cake, and she has this great performance. So I think either her or Affleck, because you look at Affleck, too, where he came from. And again, we remind people of this. Not only was he great in Gone Girl, but also this dude's playing Batman. And he was in Geely.
And Daredevil.
Yeah, and he was Daredevil. He was an awful superhero. Now he's playing one of the best superheroes of all time. So I'd probably say I'd give it a nose Affleck over Aniston.
See, I'll disqualify Ben Affleck from this because to me he's actually been redeemed for a while. Whether it's going back to Argo, go back to The Town. I loved him in Changing Lanes. So
yeah, Paycheck came out like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I mean that's all.
That's
ancient
my body of work.
But these are all worthy nominees. But out of watching all of them, including Keanu, Kristen Reeves, Mike Myers, Jennifer Aniston, there's only one that I walked out going, now I cannot wait to see them and what they do next. And for me, that's Keanu Reeves. I came out of John Wick going, I went into John Wick going, well, okay, I'll take a risk and go watch Keanu Reeves. And I came out of that going, I want to see what Keanu Reeves does next.
Right.
So for me, I'll go that way. All right, folks, we've reached that part of the show for Buy or Sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Sinead's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down, and then those of us at the table are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Sinead, what do we got?
Brad Pitt's production company, Plan B, is developing a feature film version of the 2011 novel, The Big Short. The story revolves around the economic crash in 2008 and the behind-the-scenes activities that led up to it. The film will reportedly star Brad Pitt, Christian Bale, and Ryan Gosling. Jeanette, buy or sell the sounds of The Big Short?
I buy it. I'm really glad that they're tackling such a giant political bomb, and I want to see who's going to play the bank empire guys, the puppet masters,
Christian?
Oh yeah, I buy it for the cast and for what Brad Pitt's been doing, just producing stuff lately,
Yeah.
Because with Selma and 12 Years a Slave and now doing this, I think that this is going to be that cast, man. Look at that cast.
Oh,
Bale, Pitt, and Gosling. Yeah, sign me up. It sounds awesome.
Yeah, I buy this too. I mean, cast-wise, this is better than Ocean's 11. I mean, when you got this trio, it's insane. I almost thought it was fake when I first. Wait, Christian Bale and Brad Pitt and Ryan Gosling in the same movie, right? Crazy. But I'm so glad you brought up what you did about Brad Pitt with his production company, Plan B. Because of his name and his clout, he can do just a lot of fluff. But even when the guy does a zombie movie, it's actually got heart and depth and is character driven. With that, you mentioned what he did with 12 Years a Slave and the other stuff he's doing, and this sounds like it's great. A lot of respect to this guy for what he's doing.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a big buy.
It's a buy for me, too. I mean, the 2008 economic fall was such an interesting topic that you can now cover, too. There's already been some great documentaries about that, and The Company Men, which actually starred Ben Affleck, too, is a really cool story about that. So that'll get you primed for something like this. This feels like it has Oscar written all over it to me, if they do it right.
All right, what's next?
We recently reported that Avengers star actress Scarlett Johansson, had landed the lead role in the upcoming live-action Ghost in the Shell. Now we have a release date. According to reports, Ghost in the Shell will hit AMC theaters on April 14th, 2017, just 1 week after Guillermo del Toro's Pacific Rim 2. Christian, buy or sell this release date for Ghost in the Shell?
I buy it. You know why I buy it is because even more so because of the Pacific Rim 2 also is eventually it had to happen with all the comic book movies. The summer movie season usually starts in May. It's been shifting away from that. Even with Captain America last year, you get one or two. You're going to see it shift into April really soon, and I think this is kind of a start if it's not starting even sooner than that. But I like it coming out. You get Pacific Rim 2, then you get this movie in April, then you'll get all the other bigger ones in May, June, July. So I think it's a good move for it, so I'm buying it.
oddly enough, I'm going to sell this. Not because of the date itself, but because it's opening 1 week after Pacific Rim 2. I think there's a lot of big films you could open this movie around and it'll be fine, but for whatever reason, I just feel like, and it's hard for me to say this because I can't even really qualify it, but I feel like the audience that is really going to be excited for Pacific Rim 2 is also the audience that's going to be really excited for Ghost in the Shell. So I almost feel like it would have been better to open this around some other, maybe even bigger movies than that. So while I'm looking forward to seeing it, I'm going to sell the actual release date and where they're positioning. Anyway, Mark?
I'm going to buy it, but that's as close to summer as you can put this movie. Like, I think that because it's got Scarlett Johansson and she's such a strong female lead and has proven herself, I don't think it's going to compete for the same dollars Pacific Rim. Obviously, the Venn diagram, there's going to be a little bit of overlap with guys like us who want to see both movies, but I wouldn't put it any closer to summer. I think this is as close to the summer as a movie like this that is a franchise, but it's not a proven franchise at the box office yet.
I'm going to buy it just because it's Pacific Rim is mentioned. Pacific Rim 2 is mentioned. It's like, that's coming out. It's reality. So it's like, to me, yeah. I mean, I'll see this, and then I'll see Pacific Rim 2 again. So I mean, I'm glad that it's like close to it. It's going to be a fantastic summer, even in April.
Even in April, what's next?
Deadline is reporting that Fox Studios has won the rights to remake the classic John Carpenter film Escape from New York, and that Carpenter himself will serve as an executive producer on the project. The original 1981 film starred Kurt Russell as Snake Plissken, an eye-patched convict sent into a maximum security prison that was once the island of Manhattan in order to rescue the president. Mark, buy or sell an Escape from New York remake?
Yeah, I'll buy it. I love
So begrudging.
Kurt Russell as Snake Plissken so much. I think those movies are so much fun. But yeah, you go back and you watch Escape from New York, and it's totally ripe for being updated. And the fact that John Carpenter is going to serve as some sort of mentor to the crew, or he's going to be an executive producer in some capacity, that gives me more hope for the film. I think this was always one of those 80s films that was going to be rebooted anyway, whether we like it or not. So I might as well get in front of the train and buy it.
Yeah, I'm going to sell this, oddly enough. Hey, remember when Len Wiseman was going to direct this and Gerard Butler was going to be the new Snake Plissken? Okay, this isn't that. But the reason I'm going to sell this is because even though I am all for remakes, everybody knows I'm totally for remakes. Put out a remake to a classic. If it sucks, it doesn't matter. I still got the classic. No skin off my nose. But for whatever reason, it almost feels like to me like an Escape from New York is going to be tough to pull off today. But the main reason I'm going to sell this, and this is not fair, I'm going to admit it's not fair, but it's just the way the press release was announced. That John Carpenter is going to serve as executive producer. That means he's doing nothing. He's going to do nothing. It means he's just putting his name to it and say, sure, go ahead, and he's going to get a check for $500,000 or whatever for just putting his name to it. So on that alone, I'm out of spite. I'm just going to give it a sell. Any Christian?
I buy it. I buy it because I want to see an updated version. They got to get the right guy. Gerard Butler at this point.
It's going to be tough.
That's the thing. Is this casting? I buy the question as far as do I buy the idea of a remake? Yes, I buy it. I want to. There'll be another question down the line once they cast. Do I buy this person as Snake Plissken? And I don't know if I'll buy or sell that. But I want to see what Manhattan with today's cameras and today's equipment can shoot. You know, in the futuristic world. I want to see that. I want to see a good director again. I don't want Len Wiseman anywhere near it. I don't want him near it. I don't want. I like Gerard Butler for what he is, but give me someone younger, someone that can maybe take a franchise if it works, and you can do a nice dystopian film with this. So I'm hesitantly buying it because I like the idea of what we could do, but let's see who we cast.
I want Roddy Piper as Snake Plissken. Anyway, snap.
I buy it, but I was still holding out for Escape from Detroit. You know? Yeah. Hey, Plissken, call me Snake. You know, what happened in Detroit? No, well, I'm not going to talk about it. Whatever. It's like, I guess we're never going to find out.
Cleveland, too.
Yes.
Yeah. I also buy John Carpenter is looking like one of our founding fathers in that picture.
I buy that they paid John
jacket.
Carpenter at least $2 million to be executive producer, and he could just smoke pot and watch them make this movie. I'm just happy that they're going to make an Escape from New York. Nothing is ever going to take away the awesome original Escape from New York. If you've never seen it, watch it now and just enjoy it. It takes place in 1997.
If Escape from LA doesn't take away from Escape from New York, a remake won't take away from Escape from New York. All right, folks, to reach that part of the show for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address on the show, just email it in anytime to amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Now, we're also going to save a minute or two at the end of the show to take a couple of live questions. So if you're watching us live, tweet in some live questions to @AMC Movie News. But for now, let's get to the mailbag. So, Sinead, what do we got?
Patrick Hogue writes, "Hey AMC crew, love what you do and pray that you keep doing it. My question for you guys is, what did you think was the most ambitious film that was released in 2014? Making a good film, let alone a great film, is an incredible task, and what some filmmakers did last year is jaw-dropping. Between Boyhood, Birdman, and Interstellar, I'm having trouble deciding which one I believe was the most ambitious film to undertake and which one was the most successful. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts, and we'll keep watching you guys until the end of time."
You bring up some really good films when talking about ambitious films to make. I'm still going to contend that I think Interstellar was the most ambitious film to make in 2014, not just for the visual nature of it and what they were trying to accomplish, but even just the whole concept of, you know, a dying world and painting a picture of a truly dying world. This whole story about going out to, you know, rescue that dying world, but then you're implementing different types of ideas about time lapsing and all that kind of stuff, and then alternate dimensions, and then you're throwing into the idea that, hey, some alien species left us a gateway, and you're trying to incorporate all these really high concept ideas, especially in the terms of sci-fi, to do it. Now, did I love Interstellar? I didn't end up loving it. I ended up really liking it. I enjoyed it. I've seen it a number of times. I think it's a really good film, but I didn't think it didn't meet my expectations. But I think in the hands of any other director, I think Interstellar would have turned out bad, because it's just that hard of a film. I think the film that was really ambitious and had the most success in actually pulling it off for me was Birdman. Just the way it was told, the way it was shot, the types of characters they used. I just thought it was the one that had the most success. Anyway, Schnepp, what about you?
I'll touch on Interstellar for a minute. Like, I just saw it a second time, and I intentionally left the minute Matthew McConaughey ejected, and they had this whole, like, you know, fifth dimension scene with the watch, and, like,
Right.
because I absolutely
No
hated
spoilers, though.
It's not the end of the movie, but I'm just like, that sequence, that 15-minute sequence is what made me go from loving the film to liking it. I'll say that. And it's a very ambitious film. It was shot almost all in IMAX. It's a beautifully well-made film. Christopher Nolan is an incredible director, and I loved Birdman. I think it should win the Oscar. I think it's the best film of the year, but the most ambitious film is, for me, Boyhood. It's taking 14 years to make one movie, shooting sequences over the span of 14 years with the same actors. Not only is that commitment,
Was it 14 or
12?
12?
It was 12.
Was it 12?
Yeah.
All right.
It's a lot of years.
It's a lot of years to have, like, you know, Patricia Arquette, Ethan Hawke, all the kids, watching them grow up. It's an experience that I've never seen before in an actual narrative film. We've seen it in, like, you know, what was it, 47 Up, 37 Up, the documentary where they follow those kids over the span of every 7 years. There's a documentary series. I think the next one's like 56 Up. They've been following these kids since it was 7 Up, then, like, every 7 years, 14 Up, they follow these kids.
Wow.
This is like that, but like a narrative, which has never been done before. So hats off to Linklater for actually not only doing this experimental film, but being able to make a film that actually was emotionally resonant and was a good film. It wasn't like a cool experiment failure as a film. I think it's a fantastic movie and one of the most ambitious films I've ever even seen made.
The question that I guess Patrick Hogue asked was as far as this year. Because it was over 12 years, that's why I agree with you. Everything that you said, I agree with 100%. But just because of this year, that took 12 years. So he had a little step up on everybody.
You cheater.
The movie itself is an absolutely ambitious feat. But the question on the table is for this
Yeah, but
year.
Interstellar
1 year.
took a couple of years to make.
every film
and
takes a
every
couple of
film
years to
takes
make.
a
That's
while to
fine,
make.
but I'm talking about the one that came out this year for the amount of time, and I would still and I'm with you and you that I liked Interstellar, but it is absolutely the definition of ambitious. And what you also said, as far as if some other director, it would have been bad, it wouldn't have happened. The movie wouldn't have happened.
That's true.
He developed the story.
Spielberg was going to direct it off of
But
Jonathan Nolan's original script
But somebody with the caliber of a Spielberg, you'd have to.
But in the way that it happened, in the way it was shot, in the way, like you said,
Right.
shot in IMAX,
Right.
all that movie as it was would have not have happened. And because Nolan, his brother, they put it together, it is an accomplishment as far as all these movies are. But this one, when you watch it on screen, you're just like, and like you said, the story points, what they were trying to do with quantum physics and all, it's like, even though you can lose people here and there, it is ambitious to say this is what we are going to put the research in. We are going to show you that we have really researched this thing. This is what we think could happen in this movie, and we want you to come along on this journey.
Except for the fifth dimension, I'm playing a piano
But
thing.
whatever. Even those things, even though you like them or not like them, they're still. If you look into theories of what scientists that they're legit on things of ways that of actual theories of
You can throw some scientists
Whatever
into
it
the
is.
MMA ring and watch
Yeah, but
them
listen,
fight.
if you're talking about ambition, Kirk Cameron tried to save Christmas. Okay, nobody's ever tried to do that before.
That's right.
I would give it to Boyhood because it was released this year, and I think as far as filmmaking goes, quantum physics are great, but like the average moviegoer doesn't know enough about quantum physics to where you can bend them a little bit or be like, oh no, this will serve our purposes better. You couldn't cheat Boyhood at all. You had to film it with this cast growing up over 12 summers. That was the most ambitious film to me.
All right, what's next?
Patrick Doyle writes, watching this show always makes my day. You guys are the best in the business without a doubt. My question is in regards to the Batman vs. Superman and the Justice League films. Why have we not heard anything about Green Lantern? Is he going to be in these films? And if so, who do you think would be great in that role? Thank you, and keep up the great work.
I generally don't like who do you think would be good in this role types of questions because the answer is always the same. It's any one of 1,000 good actors. You put a good actor in there, you're good to go. I thought Ryan Reynolds was a good actor. I thought he was a fine Hal Jordan, but the movie was a mess, all that kind of stuff. But he's replaceable. You can put in any type of actors, that's fine. I think they have a lot of questions they still have to answer about Green Lantern. I don't think we're going to see him in Batman vs. Superman. There's no plans for him in there. I don't even know if we're going to see him before the Green Lantern movie, which is 2019. Is that when it's scheduled for?
I think so.
Something like that. We may see him before then, and that's fine. But the big question they have to answer before who do they play him is what Green Lantern are they going with? Because you have several Green Lanterns you can go with. You can go with Kyle Rayner, you can go with Jon Stewart, you can go with Guy Gardner, you can go with Hal Jordan. Like I've always said, to me there is but one Green Lantern to me, and that's Hal Jordan. Hal Jordan to me is the quintessential Green Lantern. I would want them to go with him, but they have several other options. Like I said, Kyle, John, Guy, all of which have their upsides and their downsides totally, so they can go with that. They got to answer that question first, and then we can start worrying about who maybe could act as them.
I agree with all that, but if we're going to play fun and say, like, who would you want to see? Because I won't say who I think will be the best, because you said any actor could do it. I want to see Jon Stewart, and I want to see Nate Parker play Jon Stewart.
Parker's an interesting, yeah.
I think Nate Parker is a phenomenal actor and is a guy that really needs to break out into the mainstream, and I think he's a guy. If you don't know who Nate Parker is, check him out. Arbitrage.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Mark?
Yeah, look, I think you're going to see Green Lantern before his standalone movie just because you look at the way that the DC movie universe is going and you're going to get all these appearances from other superheroes in Batman v Superman. I think that they're probably going to do a soft pitch with Green Lantern in some sort of film before then. And it might just be an Easter egg, it might just be a little hint, but you're going to get something before that movie actually comes out. He's the superhero that is in the doghouse right now because of that film. And so nobody really wants to talk about, oh, by the way, we also are the studio that has Green Lantern. But I think eventually he is going to be able to come back in a big way. I think Green Lantern is going to be one of the coolest superhero movies to come out in whatever year it comes out when we're all 90.
Yeah. Well, I looked at it like Green Lantern is sort of like he's in that, it's a 7-year doghouse. Like Batman, 1988, Batman and Robin took like 6-7 years to get to Batman Begins. Superman took way longer to get to Superman Returns. Then that bombed. Then that took 6 more years to get to Man of Steel. We've got at least 4 more years to wait till a Green Lantern movie from the last stink bomb of Green Lantern. So I think Batman v Superman, they're going to introduce the Green Lantern Corps. That's my guess. I think it's going to be, the Green Lantern Corps is going to be very...
Like a Doctor Strange mention or something?
Just a little aside, someone's got a ring, things are going to just be mentioned.
They might have to split it into 3 movies.
No, but it's just
like, they mentioned Doctor Strange in Captain America 2. Like,
Or like if you see like a Wayne Enterprises satellite or something like that, just like a little tiny.
It's going to be mentioned because they're setting up the Justice League, and Green Lantern will definitely be a part of the Justice League. They're gonna sideways slide a lot of these characters in by opening up the DC universe. I mean, you look at the DC universe right there. It's like half of those characters are in television shows now. You have Green Arrow, you have Black Canary, you have Aquaman, Superman, Batman, Martian Manhunter. The only guy who's probably never going to get his own series is Red Tornado. But you can't say never. So.
All right, well, I said we'd take a couple of questions at the end. We're running short on time, but we're going to do just that. So, Sinead, let's take 2 questions.
At I Slay the Dragon, that's the with an A, asks, do you think Whiplash will at least have a Best Picture nom for the Oscars? I feel like it's being overshadowed.
It all depends. It depends on how many nominees they get this year. If there are 7, 8, 9, 10 nominees, I think Whiplash will get a nomination. If it's 5 nominees, I I think it's just going to be on the outside looking in. What do you guys think?
I think it'll get a nomination. I think there'll be about 9 pictures, and I think that'll be one of them. It doesn't have a chance to win, but it'll be nominated.
Schnepp?
It should be nominated. It's an incredibly well-directed film. So.
Yeah, yes. The answer is yes.
All right, what's next?
At Perishable Wreck asks, with Planet of the Apes and King Kong both coming in 2017, is that too many monkeys for 1 year? Will we have monkey fatigue?
Never!
It's like, there are 32 movies coming out this year that have a police officer in it. Is that too many? No, these are very different movies, very different monkeys, especially with the way that Skull Island is shaping up, just with the cast.
Yeah. What
I'm
year is she
excited
talking about? Is it-
17.
Yeah, there's also Cybergibbon. Don't forget about that.
Cybergibbon.
There's no monkeys in 2017 yet. These are apes we're talking about, people. It's a completely different species. I know. I'm one of them.
Perishable Wreck. Is that my ex-girlfriend?
All right, folks, listen, that'll do it for us for this installment of AMC Movie Talk. Thanks a lot for joining us today. Hey, listen, don't forget, guys, we also have an Instagram up, so just check for us. You can look in the description of the video, you'll find a link to, and start following us. If you have an Instagram account, follow us at AMC Movie News. Listen, folks, don't forget, lots of great films playing in AMC theaters right now. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for your theater, showtime, and your movie ticket information. If you want an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video, and you'll find a link to our podcast feed. And don't forget to click the thumbs up button, share this video on your Facebook and on your YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to our AMC Theaters YouTube channel. I want to thank the guys sitting at the table with me. First of all, sitting to my left, Mr. Mark Ellis. Mark, where can people find you online?
5150 Ellis is Twitter, Instagram, and let's open this can of worms. Words with friends. 5150 Ellis. Let's dance.
Right over here, Mr. Christian Harloff. Christian, where can people find you?
Not playing Words with Friends. I'll be watching the Lando episode again of Rebels. Find me on Instagram or Twitter at Christian Harloff.
Right over there, Mr. John Schnepp. Schnepp, where can people find you?
You find me at Instagram and Twitter at John Schnepp and at TDOSLWH, and I'm a green, bloated, weird fish. Am I an inhuman or am I a mutant? Where am I?
And now your hand's in a blender.
Yeah, right? Unfriended.
And our lovely host today, Miss Sinead DeFries. Sinead, where can people find you online?
I am on Instagram and Twitter at Sinead DeFries and at thatsoshnade.com.
And you can find me playing Clucky Road, or you can find me at Trivia Crack at John Campia, and also on Twitter and Facebook at John Campia.
Refriended.
Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. My name is John Campia for AMC Movie News, and until next time, bye-bye.
Hey everyone, if you liked this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC Movie Talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.